Hey everybody, welcome to Painting by Numbers. Now this is going to replace Painting with Rob. Okay, I feel the live things, number one, you don't get enough close-up, and I can't get... the whole point of the Painting with Rob was to reach people, to reach out and grab somebody that was really interested in this kind of thing and talk to them as an individual. And I think we kind of got lost with our message. So I'm going to try this and see what the opinion is, and I would love to see all your comments. This is a new way to do things. It's a lot more instructional, and hopefully it's something that you guys will enjoy and like. So we're doing All Quiet on the Martian front. We're doing the actual Martian and a tank to show you how to do it and really break it down and make it simple for beginners. If you are an expert, later in the series, the next couple ones I'll do a little bit at the end. I'll have a stopping and start point where maybe I'll go a little further, but this is strictly for people that never picked up a paintbrush, that want to be able to do something and do it quickly, efficiently, within 20-25 minutes. So I want to keep things nice and tight and simple so you can follow along and stop as you go and feel you're being talked to and taught. And that's what I want to do. I want to reach out in that camera and help you develop your skills and move on to whatever experts that you feel that is the next level. So let's give this a shot. Let's see how it works out. And most of all, let's get down to the table. So what are we looking at here? Well, we're looking at a big idiot with a paint can, right? What that is, the Rust-Oleum ×2 flat black. It says on it plastics only. Okay, this is very, very good stuff. It's inexpensive. Okay, and I've yet to have a problem with it. Now look what I'm doing here. I have those sat down on a piece of cardboard where I can spin it around, and what I'm doing is actually just spraying and turning, keeping about anywhere from 5 to 7 inches away, 8 inches away. Just and make sure when you're doing something like this, if you're outside, which way the wind's going, because the last thing you want to do is get this in your face and breathing in. It's very nasty stuff to begin with. But I'm just spraying that, and as you can see, I'm just checking. And if you haven't mounted to the cardboard, you could just use some tape or some putty, and all you're doing is just working your way around. See how I'm able to turn things and spray underneath, especially when you only have a couple of models. This particular set, now I turned the tank upside down. I just like getting the bottom, even though you're not going to look at the bottom. You want to paint underneath the bottom. Get a little primer on there, and I do paint underneath the bottom, but you really don't see that. Now these colors that I'm going to use, I'm not going to use Serpium, but I am going to use this lead belcher here. We were thinking about using some new oil, so I'm just showing that to you. And I picked out a bunch of things that I might use. Roomfang steel is definitely, we're going to be using that for the alien, you're going to see. Mephiston red, where you can use that for the eyeball for the alien. Baden black, if I don't dry brush correctly and I really mess up the tracks, I'll have to use that. Ammo shade green, camo shade I sometimes use, and Baldar gold, I think I grabbed that by accident, but what I wanted was a warp bronze. This striking green is going to be used as a dry brush and is very effective. We're actually going to be using some Vallejo and olive green. We'll show you where that goes. That's going to go with our tank. And you can get that at Hobby Lobby for $2.99. It's very, very good paint. Now the first thing that we want to do is we want to take lead belcher. We're going to open it up, and you can see I have a pretty stiff brush there to start with. So we're going to shake that really, really well. We're going to open it up. We're going to get a good amount on, okay? This, even though we're going to take some of this off, we're not really worried about how much is on there because how we're going to dry brush. But the point here is to really kind of take it off a bit, because I don't want to use the new oil. I want to be able to keep the black underneath, to keep it in the recesses. So let's watch what I'm doing here. Look at my hand skills and what I'm doing. I'm holding the brush higher and I'm just dancing it over the top very lightly. All I'm doing is I'm pushing pretty hard with that, and here, right about here, I'm kind of realizing this isn't going to be the brush for this. The reason being is this is a very, not flimsy model, but it has a lot of parts that can break, so I'm going to want a soft brush. And you can see I'm trying to get all the brush marks out, and I'm kind of just really rubbing in there, and I'm looking at myself and I'm going, well, it's time to change the brush here. So I'm just going to use up whatever paint I have on here, and you can see that I'm holding that brush, and I'm really got good control of that brush. But look at those legs. They can easily break off with a hard brush if you push too hard. Remember, it's only plastic. Here, I took a nice soft brush. You see how flexible the brushes is? And I'm worried about those little tentacles there and those arms. So I went with a softer brush. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my lead belcher back on, but I'm going to put it on very, very lightly. Okay? Now you see, I've got it on my brush and I'm going to wipe it off in the same spot that I was using, so I'm not wasting a lot of paint. But here, because the brush is so soft, it's going to work a little bit better, and I have to go over the target softer. See how nice and soft I'm going over? See how I'm working those legs? But I'm really kind of pulling back a little bit and just using the brush stroke. It looks like I'm pushing hard, but I'm really not, because those brushes are so soft that, see, I'm keeping the darkness in the recess, and that's what I'm trying to accomplish, because this lead belcher is just going to go over the black. It's not the color that we want for this alien. Now, you could do this and just put the lead belcher, and you would have a perfectly fine model right then and there, and it would come out perfect. But that's not what we're looking for. We're looking to set this as a base, as a dark undertone. So when we put the lighter Rune Fang steel, it's going to give you that illusion that it really looks like steel. And it stands out, and there's going to be certain areas that you're going to go, wow, that's really shiny, and those things came here and they mean business. And you can see the nice soft brush, how it works on the arms. It's not bending the arms. We don't have a chance of breaking those tentacles, and we're working underneath. The paint is almost drying instantaneously because we're putting such a light coat on. And all I'm really doing is dusting over this, trying to make sure that I get any kind of brush marks off. I'm not worried about getting it on my hands. You're going to get a little bit on your hands. That's okay. That's half the fun of painting. I'm going to pull a little bit more here. And you see, I'm just working off the top of the cap. I'm not dipping inside the bottle. Okay, I'm just getting a little bit on there, and I'm going, well, I can leave this on there because there wasn't a lot on the cap, but I'm working the higher end, the higher points, okay, and I'm trying to get it in certain recesses, but leave the really deep recesses with that primer coat underneath. And just working it, and the soft brush is doing a wonderful job. You can see where right here I'm trying to take off any brush strokes I have, and by dry brushing really, really well with that, yeah, exactly. See how I left that line in there? See how that line is left in there from the primer? You have that dark kind of line in the recess around the helmet there. And even in the legs, you can tell just by dry brushing that. In the arms, the little indentations in the arms, how that black is staying underneath there, and that's because I was very light. I was like a feather, okay, just nice and easy. It looks like I'm really banging it hard, but there's only those two legs that are holding that, so I'm really going light, and I stick my finger underneath there, I believe, and really just kind of dancing around. And now I'm going to show you guys. Look, you could just be done right there. And you did a good job. And how long did that take us? That took us, what, about 7 minutes to do priming? Now we're going to move on to the tank. And here, we're going to use a Vallejo, which is a olive an olive green, but also Army Builder has a very, very good shade that you can use. It really depends what your preference is. I'm going to go with the olive green because it's part of the Heritage series and it's made for tanks. So let's go for that nice dark undertone. So we're going to shake that up real well, and we're going to put a little on our palette there. It's a good loose ink, and we're going to use the same kind of theory here, okay? Because again, we don't want to use washes every time. We want to get these guys done quick. So what I'm going to do is, you're going to watch here, and I'm going to get a good amount on, but I'm going to wipe some of it off. And I want to show you this because, as you can see, there you go. That's all I'm doing, is I'm trying to take off the excess. And take off the excess, and take off the excess. Okay, so now I've got it light because I'm a little worried that it might go on a little streaky. So with a good dry brush, I can get it to go in there. And I kind of test out, and I look, yeah, well, I want a little bit more. There we go. Now I'm just going to dance that around, and we're going to speed up a little bit, and I'm just continually doing what I'm doing, and I'm just dancing the brush around. Try not to hit those tracks. Okay, those tracks have our primer on it, and they're black, and we kind of want to leave that black undertone, because when we put the warp bronze on there, I like putting the bronze because this is supposed to be a from 1908 to whatever, or 1800s. I like to think that they used brass tracks back in the day. You know, everything was brass back then. I was there. So as you can see, we dry brush that on nice and thin, but again, we left in those recesses, and you can see where we have some of that black. And that's really, really key for what we want to do. We want a nice light coat on there, and we want to dry brush it in easy. So we're back to our Martian here. Okay, and this is where we're going to take our Rune Fang steel. Okay, and you're going to see I want to go lightly and hit those high point areas that I'm pointing out. Those edges, because that's really going to make it stand out. So we're going to shake this up real good. Now we're not going to take it off, but we're not really going to take it off that much. As you can see, I'm really not concerned. It was a couple of strokes onto the paper towel, and then from there, what I'm going to do is I am just, now watch me, I'm just nice and light. Look, I'm higher on the brush, and I'm really just working it. We skipped ahead a little bit to just show you that I'm just very lightly going over the high spots. See how I'm dipping the brush? Now see how that silver's starting to work in there? How it stands out, but you still have that dark undertone? It gives a little more life to this guy. Look at that leg there, okay? See where I keep my position of my thumb so that leg isn't bending or breaking? Because I am using the stiff brush, but I'm hitting it very lightly because I'm up higher on the brush. The brush is down here, but I'm up higher, really using the technique of just, again, good flow, like a conductor conducting music. That's exactly what we're doing. And look what we have here. Do you see how bright that now is? Instead, we could have left it lead belcher, but we decided to add the Rune Fang steel, and it gives it that steely, hardened look, and that's what we're going for. Now you see the arms, how we still kept the black in there. We didn't have to use a wash to get in the recesses. By dry brushing higher, and building the color higher, we were able to keep the primer underneath and keep everything nice and dark, but just the way we like it. And I think that looks pretty doggone good, if you ask me. And very quick to do. Very quick and very easy. Now we're back to the tank here. And we're going to take that green that we had, the striking green. That's what it was. I couldn't see from here. Now, it's a lighter color. Now this, watch what I do with this. Okay? I've got that same brush, but I'm going to be very, very conservative with the paint here, because if I try to dry brush the way I have the last few times. Now look, I'm using that white brush right there. See how sharp of an edge that has? Now watch what I do here. I take that off and I work that into an area, and I'm really taking it off. Okay, I really don't want that paint on that brush almost. I just want a faint bit. Now there's a little hair there. But look, I'm going to a clean spot to see how much I have on there, and I have very little. Now I'm going to work it along the edges. Okay? I'm going to get as much as that off the brush. I want it straight. Now look at that edge there. See how that goes on there? That now we're giving dimension to this tank. Look what we're doing. Just a simple move by using the edge of the brush. Now we moved on a little bit, and I really have that off. But look what I'm doing. Look at the difference that we have with this tank now. Because I just took and I just kept on working that brush. I'm leaving the dark color underneath, but kind of putting a hint of a lighter color, which is giving this tank, number one, a worn look, some dimension, some edges. You know, we could even take a little bit of lead belcher if we wanted to and do the same thing. Now back to the Martian here. And what we're going to do is we're going to use two colors here. We're going to use a corn red for his eye, but I believe every laser should be moot green. Yes, I don't know why. Maybe I've read too many comic books as a kid. Dr. Doom always shot a green or light blue laser. I don't know what to tell you. It's a kid thing. But this eye here, this has to stand out, okay? I always start at the middle, the biggest area, okay, and work my way out, so I know I have good control of that particular brush. Look how I'm working closer to the edge. I'm working from the top and down, easy, making sure that I have control of that brush. That brush is in my control, and once I have a good feel, then I can go to my edges and work that in there. And look, we've got a perfect, you know, red beacon there. Now you could put a little black dot in there if you liked for an eyeball. You can maybe top it with a little burnt orange or something to give it a little more dimension. I like leaving it red. We're just doing it simple to show you how quickly and simple you can do this. And for the little laser here, what I like to do is just, we're going to dance a little green on that laser, because like I said, all high-powered weapons are fluorescent color. I don't know why, but it just looks cool. So there you go. He looks pretty cool. He looks pretty good, and you guys can do this. You guys can do this. This is an easy task. You can do this, and you can mail this home. You can do 3 of these probably in less than an hour. All right, let's go back to our tank. Now we're going to paint those turrets there, and we're going to take care of the tracks on each side. So we're going to take out our lead belcher, okay, and our warp lock bronze, because I really like that bronze color, and I like how that works onto the tank tracks. So we're going to shake up our paint real well, and we're going to open it up, and we're going to pull out a little lead belcher, just enough where we can get all those high points there. And there we go. We're just working on those barrels. We don't have to, we can go over with a little room thing, steel if you wanted to, but I really don't think you need to. And I think you'll see when I'm done here that you really don't. You want to hit the big barrel. You just want to hit the barrel part. You don't want to go all the way up to the end of the turret there, or closer to the tank, excuse me. So as you can see, and I took care of that little gun there, and which really is working out pretty well. And then making sure that I have good control of the brush and just getting the underneath. See, I didn't feel I had great control, but I felt that right there, I felt pretty good. I got enough paint on there. I'm doing the underneath there, and then I'm looking, and I'm just going to get, I'm going to get a little bit closer because I'm feeling a little more confident with my brush. You have to have confidence in yourself and in your brush. And if you believe in your brush, you can do anything. You guys can do anything that you want to do. And that's the beauty of this. You really can color your worlds. And look at that. There we go. That looks pretty doggone good. So we're going to move on to our next color, and this is very, very important color because this is really going to help this tank pop out. This bronze, and the reason I go with this is I always think of steam engines back in the day and stuff like that. That I always see, and there was always this brassy bronzy kind of look to it. And that's what I like to go with these tanks. Instead of going with the traditional silver or black tracks, I like to bronze it up a little bit. And you can see how this is going on. And I take a look and I go, okay, yeah, I kind of like this. So I'm going over very lightly because look what I'm doing here. I'm just kind of, I want to leave that primer underneath, that black primer. I don't want to lose that, okay? Because I don't want to have to use and put a wash over this. Now look at this, I'm going over the edges because you really need to go over the edges. But I'm using the flat part of the brush. So here's the tip of the brush, but I'm using the flat and just guiding it along. See how I'm guiding it along? Well, I'm getting a little sloppy there. But yeah, just using the edge. There you go. There's one track. So we're gonna get a little more paint on there, excuse me. And then what we're going to do here is we're going to do the same thing. We're just going to work that in there. Look, see how I'm just using that brush, using that flat spot of the brush. I don't want to take away the depth of the track. I can take away a little bit of it. But as you can see, and if you really look, it really stands out with that track. That track really comes alive because of the black and the bronze, the Warplock bronze working together. And how long did this take us? I mean, I don't even think this took us more than 20 minutes. Okay? I think the intro was longer than how long it took to paint this tank. This tank and this walker, it took us all of about 20-21 minutes if you're lucky. And yeah, I sped it ahead a little bit in certain areas, but honestly that was more me just trying to get good camera angles and stuff like that. But look at that. You see the depth? You see how that green that goes over the olive green really gives a nice look, and the bronze really stands out strong, and you got yourself a tank. You can whip these tanks out and these things out, and I'm telling you, you can do it in an hour. Once you get them together, and if you follow these techniques, very simple, nothing really fancy. You put the decals on the tanks. I could have showed you that, but I think if you put the decals on the tanks, they're going to look really, really nice. And you're really going to like what you see here. I hope you guys enjoyed this very first edition of this Painting by Numbers with your pal Rob. Hey, there we go. Alien Walker, tank, done. Thank you so much, guys. It means the world for me to be able to do this, and those of you that enjoy this, it means everything to me. There we go. A real close look. See how that silver, that rune thing really just stands out strong. See how we keep, if you look at both of them, how we keep that detail. Look at the lines that we're able to create. Okay? That's definition. That's exactly what we want. Look at his arms, how we were able to keep that black underneath. Perfect. Exactly what we wanted. Wow. Just everything we want. Thanks so much, guys. I appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed this. And for me, it is an honor to come in your home and teach the beginners how to do this, and look forward to doing this more in the future and keeping this series going. Thanks so much, and we'll see you soon.